Michaela with Your Everyday Woman. So I did a lot more shopping in February. So as you can see, I've got some products to review and show you guys. Some new releases, some not quite. So let's just go ahead and get all right into the video. Starting with my primer. I got the Colourpop Pretty Fresh primer. I got this, wait, it doesn't have a shade, it's a primer. What am I thinking? So I did get this in the shade. I've got notes here, things I've written down, so I'm looking down, that's why. I got this, I think this retails for $12. I'll have all links to everything listed below in the description box. I do enjoy it. It does work really well. It is more of a serum. I do like what it does with the foundation. However, I've noticed it does make me break out, and I do have a negative skin reaction to it. And if you saw my video a couple months back of the Milk Hydro Grip Primer, and I'll go ahead and link this video below. But it was really good foundation primer. It held my foundation in place all day. However, I did have a negative reaction, and as I was looking at the ingredients list, and it kind of dawned on me, this is a hyaluronic acid primer. And when I looked at the ingredients, these two had the same ingredients in common with the hyaluronic acid. So I'm kind of thinking that maybe my skin has a negative reaction to hyaluronic acid. So I think it might be my skin. Oh, but overall I like the freshness it gives my face. I like how it wears under my foundation. So it is really good if you do not have that kind of reaction. Again, this may be one of those where I'm definitely going to keep in my collection, but I'm not going to use regularly. I'm going to use it, keep it for like more special occasions, like on a day, especially once it starts getting hot, where I'm really just kind of wanting something light on my face, not anything too heavy. I'll wear this underneath that. So I thought that was nice. And then I actually got pretty much the whole collection, but I got the Colourpop Pretty Fresh Hydrating Moisturizer. It does have the hyaluronic acid in it. However, I find that if I use a different primer underneath it, other than this, I feel like it works really well. I don't feel like I have a skin reaction to it. I think it's because I have something between my skin, my moisturizer, and then my foundation. I've got an additional layer of a different primer, so I don't feel like it does have that. I do have mine in the shade Fair 4N. However, when I was swatching it, the shade 5N actually matched a little bit better, the shade Light 5N. However, it was out of stock, so I just picked up the Fair because I do kind of teeter on that line a little bit. This does have a bit of a rosy undertone, but it is so minimal because it is such a light coverage foundation. I don't feel like it makes, I feel like I'm able to, with bronzer and things like that, I'm able to make it more of a shade match, but it does tend to run a little bit rosy, which is pretty typical for products that use the shade Fair, which is why I think I more fall under the light category. However, it lasts all day long. It blends out nicely. As with dry skin, you just need to have good skin prep. I mean, this is a tinted moisturizer. I do notice that if I'm not prepping my skin right, it does tend to look a little bit cakey throughout the day, but even that is very, very minimal. And that's if I'm having a really bad skin day. So I like this. I would definitely recommend this if you're looking for a good tinted moisturizer. You just want something light on the skin. It looks nice, it feels nice, it looks refreshing on the skin. It doesn't fade throughout the day, just a little bit of cakiness, but again, just dry skin problems, nothing that a little bit of skin prep couldn't fix. And then to add to that collection, I actually did get the Colourpop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Creamy Concealer. Again, because there's that additional layer between the primer and the foundation, or between the skin and the foundation. The hyaluronic acid doesn't reflect negatively on the skin, only with the primer. I am running low on my Colourpop No Filter Concealer. So I bought this just to try it out, just to see if it was comparable, and it's very comparable. It's very nice. It doesn't crease easy. The Colourpop does have a little bit more creasing, but this definitely seems more hydrating to me, and it just leaves the face looking a little bit fresher, and I absolutely love and would highly recommend the Colourpop No Filter Concealer. And again, I'll link the video of my review on that from a couple months back. but this here I love just as much, if not more, than the Colourpop one. I did get this in the shade Fair 10N, and I've noticed, like, with my skin tone, if I get my foundation in the skin, or the shade that says light, and then I get my concealer in the shade that says fair, it tends to work better because I teeter very much on that line. So I kind of typically would like to pair a fair concealer with a light foundation, because I have such a neutral undertone that I feel like a lighter neutral foundation works better on me. So I did do that. I do have the setting spray coming. I went to the store the other day to go see if they had it in stock, and they didn't, so I ordered it online. So that will be in next month's video review, but I did decide to just purchase the entire collection because it is so affordable. So yeah, I have another foundation. I got this in my BoxyCharm. This is the Becca Ultimate Coverage 24-Hour Cover Foundation. And I just have to say that I hate this with a passion. Oh, and one more thing, this tinted moisturizer makes a great mixer foundation. So if you're wanting to mix it in with something that you maybe don't like as much, I tried this on my 2 worst foundations, and it actually did a really good job at evening them out and lightening them up and making them not feel so heavy on the skin. So I just have to point that out. I did use it and mix it in with this one today, and it's not as bad as it has been just using this on its own. However, mine is in the shade Linen. Like I said, hate this with a passion. It cracks, it dries, it looks cakey, it goes on miserably. I tried putting it on with my fingers, kind of rubbing it in. I tried that method. Horrible. I had to go back and blend it out with a beauty blender. It doesn't work. A brush doesn't work. I honestly don't think, I think I'm going to end up passing this along sooner rather than later to somebody who might like it. However, it is very, very, very high coverage of a foundation, which for me, I tend to prefer like a solid medium coverage foundation. So if you are someone who's maybe more on the oily side, dry skin, don't do it. Maybe normal, maybe oily, but don't, if you have dry skin, this will probably end up being your worst enemy when it comes to foundations. So hate it with passion. It's absolutely awful. I cannot find one good thing about it. Although with this mixed into it, it could be tolerable, but I, at this point, am probably going to declutter this sooner rather than later. Let me see, moving on, what do we have next? I already did my concealer. Let's go ahead and do brows. I try to do things in the order of which I'll typically put them on my face. I don't know why, it's just what works for me. But let's start on with this brow pencil by Almay. I don't know how old of a release this is, but I got the Almay brow pencil. I have mine in the shade Dark Blonde. I'll go ahead and swatch it for you here. There it is right there. I bought this trying to maybe find, I have the Anastasia brow definer, which is almost out. Now I was kind of trying to find something that maybe would compare to it. I mean, I would probably still end up repurchasing this one when it's all out, but I wanted to find something potentially comparable to it, and I have this to say about it. I think it's great. I think it works well. I think formula-wise, it is very comparable to the Anastasia one. Color-wise, I have mine in the shade Taupe. I'll go ahead and swatch it right next to it, so it's right there. So color-wise, what I thought would be comparable to the Taupe shade in the Almay one, it's actually, this one's very warm tone, and the Anastasia one is very cool toned. So I would probably, if you want something a little bit more cool tone, I might recommend going a little bit darker with this one, because my particular hair, so my natural color is more of a dark blonde color anyway, so I tend to prefer more taupey brow products. However, because my hair is dyed red, so it appears warmer than it actually is, I tend to, this one here is not a bad shade match for the color I'm currently using my hair now. Now, if I were to dye my hair something different, if I were to go full blonde or, you know, like a true brown, or, well, even a true brown, you'd probably get away with this color pretty well. I might not be able to use this particular shade. Again, formula-wise, it's great. I would very much compare it if you are looking for something that would be comparable to this. Color-wise, you're gonna have to try and find maybe a deeper shade or even a light blonde. I honestly couldn't tell you because I don't have any other, this is my only Almay brow product. but you're gonna have to play around with the colors if you want the color match to be what you want. Not bad for me, it works, just color wise it's just not quite there. Moving on to my other brow product, I got the Anastasia Tinted Brow Gel. This is in the shade Espresso. I'll go ahead and swatch that. Let's see, right there. This is the brush on it. It's got something to brush up the hairs and then something to kind of blend the colors out right there. So it's got two different sides to it. Color wise, I think it works beautifully. I think it's color wise it works well. It's the exact match to this, just in a tinted brow gel form. However, it doesn't stay. The color fades super quickly throughout the day, which I don't like. It's not, I mean, I'm sure I need to use a clear brow gel with it, but I feel like based on these pencils, which don't need any additional help, it just doesn't work well. I do find that if you put it with a brow pencil, I can make it work because it'll just add that extra tint to my brows, but I don't like it for a brow product, so this one was a huge miss for me. You know, because I thought it would compare more to my Revolution Pro or my Makeup Revolution brow gel, where I could just brush this through my brows and be done for the day. Oh. You know, and I know I said I hated this in a previous review, but I've actually grown to very much love this product as it has dried down a little bit more. So I don't think that this is going to be worth your money. I honestly don't. There are better things out there if you're looking for a tinted brow gel. So let's go ahead and talk about, let's go ahead and do my Benefit Bang Bang or Bad Gal mascara. Let me find my thing here. So this here, here's the wand on it. I think it's a very beautiful mascara. I think it's a very lengthening mascara and a volumizing mascara, and I honestly, the only bad thing I have to say about this is it does take a while to dry down, so between coats I usually have to wait a minute or two before I put on the next coat, whereas I can, with other mascaras, I feel like I could just go and right after I do the next eye and just come back and put a second coat on. So it is going to take a little bit of time if you want multiple coats, but it does do a very good job at separating and lengthening the mascara. Moving on to blush, I did get this Milani Flower blush in this shade Blossom Time Rose. This is in the shade, or this is not, I already have the one Blossom Time Rose. Let me find, this is my Blossom Time Rose. I did get mine in the shade Coral Cove, and the reason why I picked this up is because I loved this one so much, and it is phenomenal. It is at the top of my favorites list as far as blush formula goes. It's like the perfect shade of coral. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm wearing it on my cheeks today. It is like the perfect shade of coral. It's not too intense, but it's not too muted either. It just kind of makes a nice, pretty color, and I absolutely love it so much. And I'm probably going to get the rest of the colors at some point. Moving on to my Ciate London Everyday Vacay Coconut Powder. I got this in my BoxyCharm. I will go ahead and link that video down below in case you missed it. You know, and overall, as far as a powder goes, a powder's a powder. It doesn't work. Powders simply don't work for me. If I find one that does, I will let you guys know. I don't think it's a bad powder. I mean, as far as powders go, I think that it is absolutely beautiful. I think that I have used it all over the face and it just makes my face look cakey. However, I find that if I just put the tiniest bit amount to set my under eyes, it works really well. And I also love it for setting my my eyeshadow primers. It makes for a beautiful blend on the skin. So I would definitely recommend this. But if you have dry skin, you're probably not going to get much use out of it. But for me, considering I do have dry skin, it's not bad. It's just not going to be your all over the face setting powder, but that's pretty typical for being dry skin, at least for me anyway. So moving on, let's see, I've got a couple of liquid liners. from Colourpop. So when I went in to buy the setting spray for the Pretty Fresh collection, they didn't have it, so I ended up buying 2 liquid liners instead. I'll go ahead and swatch them. So I got the shades, where is the shade name? Oh, Graceland, which is the white, and the Hills, which is the green. So overall, I mean, I like them. I think they're beautiful. I think that the green will look really cute on a St. Patrick's Day look. The white does, upon application, the white applies chalky, but it is very buildable. And they do smell a little bit like a dry erase board marker upon application, but that fades super quickly. It washes off with water, so it is not waterproof. If that is important to you, you may not like these. For me, I'm not overly worried about it. I don't do a lot of swimming. And especially with the summer, I probably won't be doing any swimming at all. But it does last all day. It's not a bad product. I think it's great. I think if you're looking for a good liquid liner, I feel like I did, because I did practice a little bit doing the cat eye, so I think I kind of managed to do a better version of the cat eye with this, so I think that was pretty awesome. And then moving on to lip products. So I got the Colourpop, so this all came in the Lippy Trio with the, well, it all came apart with a part of this collection. This was all part of the same collection. I didn't pick up everything in the collection, but it's a whole collection from URAQT by Colourpop. I'll go ahead and swatch these. This is a primer. I think it works beautifully. And then we've got the lip pencil, as well as the lippy sticks. I'm swatching all of these right now. And then I'll go ahead and just do the gloss, just the ultra glossy lip that I have in the shade Well Nested. I'm just going to go ahead and swatch it all right next to each other, and then I'll show you. So we've got liner, lipstick, ultra glossy lip, and overall I think these colors work beautifully. I think the gloss does bleed a little bit because I did find some on my lower lip. However, I think it's beautiful. Not too terribly drying on the lips, especially with the lip primer underneath it. The only thing I have with it, and honestly this has nothing to do with the color or the stability or anything formula wise, I think it's beautiful. Just prep your lips before use because it is a stick and those sticks can typically get drying. However, with the Colourpop's URAQT collection, I feel like when I wear this palette, I can't wear these lips. And you would think that if you're going to get a whole collection, they're going to advertise it as a collection. They would make the lips match the eyeshadow palette, and I just could not get it to work. Every time I put the lip color with this, I just felt like the color was off and I've had to change out the lip. But other than that, I really liked it, and stay tuned because I will have a review and tutorial coming out with this one as well. So let's go ahead. I did get a Colourpop single shadow. I got mine in the shade A Little Quirky. Here's the swatch right there. I think it's a beautiful color. I think it lasts all day. I think it makes a great lid topper. Definitely make a great lid topper shade. This is my first Supershock eyeshadow that I have from Colourpop, so I think it was great. Let's see, I've got a couple. I'm gonna go ahead and do a couple of eyeshadow palette reviews for you guys. So the first eyeshadow palette I have to review for you guys is this e.l.f. bite-sized eyeshadow palette. I don't know why I didn't buy the rest, but I just bought mine in the shade Rosewater. And as I was playing with it, I noticed that there are some very, not exact dupes, but some very comparable shades to in that for the Naked 3 palette. I'll go ahead and show you some swatches. On the top row here, I've got the e.l.f. eyeshadows, and then on the bottom, I've got the Naked 3 shadows. As you can see, they're not exact dupes. Like this one here, which would be the transition shade of the e.l.f. palette, is very comparable to Limit. It's not quite showing up because of my light skin. And then like this shade here is very comparable to Dusk. So here's the e.l.f. one. Here's the shade Dusk. And then we've got this shade here, which is the third one in. It's very comparable to the shade Buzz. And then the deepest shade in the palette is very comparable to the shade Dark Heart in the Urban Decay Naked 3 palette. Again, not exact dupes, there are some subtle differences. However, this here would be like the bulk of kind of the way you'd probably want your eye looks to get if you were in here. I mean, obviously there are more shades, so a little bit more options, but the same overall kind of rose gold kind of feel. They perform absolutely beautifully. I didn't have a single problem with them on the eyes. I think they were great. If you do not have the Naked 3 palette yet and you're kind of wanting something a little bit more rose, or if you're wanting something a little bit more rose gold tone but don't want to spend the $50 on this palette, this one here will give you the exact same vibes without the price tag. So it's, yeah, $3 compared to $50, and I think this is absolutely gorgeous. So next up we have the Colourpop Blush Crush palette. I did not pick up the sister palette, which is Nude Mood, but this one I did do a Valentine's Day tutorial, so if you missed that, I will link that below, and I can also do additional tutorials on this if you would like it. But here are my swatches. They're very light, very pink, very peachy. Some of the lighter shades don't quite show up on my arm. It's just my skin tone again. Overall, I think the packaging is beautiful. It's got flowers on it, which is like one of my favorite things of all time. There is some kick up there in it. There's some powdery, but usually that just means it's a good formula. Personally, I'm not overly worried about it. You might want to wait to do your base until after your eyeshadow's done, or use some shadow shields or something. Doesn't personally bother me so much. It's a beautiful color payoff. Definitely something if you're wanting more of these kind of blushier tones, but if you're wanting to keep it not super intense, I do like to use the shade Made You Blush as a blush color. And I think it's beautifully, I don't have anything bad to say about it. So really it's definitely, you know, for $12, go pick it up while it's in the stores. It's definitely beautiful. It's not going to be as subtle as like your rose gold tones, or if you want some more like this is going to be more like peachy pink, but not like super intense that you can't handle it. And for the last eyeshadow palette I bought, well, for today's review anyway, is the Anastasia Amrezy palette. I think, oops, there's a brush. I think the packaging is so beautiful. It's so sparkling. It screams me, like, if you know anything about me, you know that I love glitter and that I love flowers. So here are some swatches on my arms. I know that there was some controversy as far as whether or not this palette was like a lot of the other palettes. I only have 2 other palettes, so I honestly couldn't tell you. I know there are 4 different formulas. I know that there are some pressed pigments, some shimmers, some glitters, and some mattes. I honestly don't know which ones are the pressed pigments and which ones are not. Yeah, that's my light. I could not tell you. I think that, you know, having 4 different formulas, not if people like it, but I tend to love it. I think it creates a very versatile palette. I think that you can do some more intense glitters. Again, you just got to use the glitters right. The shade Barred is absolutely stunning. I do have a problem with a couple of the shades here. The shade 1988, which is this deep brown shade, I feel like comes off a bit patchy, especially as I tried wearing it all over the lid and it just is very patchy, but if I blend it out right, it tends to work. It's just a little bit disappointed in that. And then this first shade here, I don't know if it'll show up, but it's the shade Wasted. And I feel like that kind of fades down and gets oxidizes throughout the day a little bit, so not my favorite. I also feel like the shades OG and New Yorker should not be in there. I feel like 1 shade is enough. I think they're just too similar in tone. I can't even tell the difference which one is which here. I feel like they're too similar in tone that I feel like they maybe should have put one more like a lilac-y transitional purple shade, or maybe done something with the blues. Speaking of the blue, this is the shade Leo.
Look.
Wow. I feel like this shade here really doesn't go with the theme of the palette at all. I feel like they just popped a blue in there to kind of give it more of like Riviera vibes. So here, I mean, the shades aren't quite the same, but here's Riviera and here's Amrezy. I I feel like the blue was probably just not necessary. I don't really feel like it goes with the color story. It's just kind of like, hey, random pop of color. Unless they were to put one of these two shades and made more of a matte kind of transitional blue to work with that other blue. Other than that, I mean, it's a pretty lit shade. I don't have a problem with the shade. I just don't think it goes well with the color story. The formula wise, I mean, all right, you ready for this? All right, come on camera, show them your swatch. Okay, Abby decided to swatch this shade Seaside from the Riviera palette for you. I don't know how well it's picking up, but she decided that she wanted to help. So she's helping. She actually just woke up from a nap, so it's been great. I've been able to do all my filming today while she was sleeping. It lasts like a regular eyeshadow palette to me. I mean, I typically in my eyes, I just get a little bit of like fading in the crease throughout the day. Again, just my eyelids, nothing against the palette personally. I don't feel like it's done anything wrong. I think that's just my skin. So, I mean, there are palettes that have not creased at all, or not creased, but have not faded away at all. And there are some palettes that have done a worse job. But as far as formula-wise goes, it does compare pretty well with this palette. And then my only other palette I have is Subculture, which is by Anastasia, which is really, I can't really compare anything to that because of just everything kind of, you know, all the controversy behind it. I mean, I don't think it's a bad palette, it's just not my favorite. But anyway, moving on. So yeah, they're somewhat comparable to one another. It does have 2 extra shades, so it was $5 extra. Was it necessary? Probably not. If they want to have gotten it back down again, I probably would have gotten rid of this blue and then one of these 2 shades here. But overall, yeah, it's a good palette. And with that, I've got 2 more I've got Colourpop's URAQT palette, which I will do an additional review on, and the Natasha Denona Mini Star palette, which I will also do an additional review on. I know I've got some palettes that I have from last month that I just haven't gotten around to filming because I've been filming other beauty related content. And my beauty content I do typically put up on Wednesdays unless otherwise requested. So with that, thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and thank you so much. God bless, and bye guys. Alright, so it is the next day. I completely forgot to go ahead and show you the products I did finish up this month. I actually have 5 products that I did end up finishing up. I'll go ahead and start with my MAC Fix Plus Goldlite. I do like the original formula, however this one I don't necessarily like. I feel like as I put it on my face, it leaves like really like chunky gold flecks, and it really emphasizes texture, so I just feel like the gold in it was very unnecessary. So I would not repurchase this, and I'm honestly glad that this is done in my collection. However, next I finished the Morphe and Jeffree Star setting spray. When I originally got this, it was a little bit used because it was just something my sister didn't like and she gave it to me, and this stuff felt amazing. It felt so refreshing on my skin. I would use it to kind of prime my face, to use as an in-between spray, and then to use to set my face. So it really is refreshing. It does have a strong strawberry scent. However, it did remind me of the cotton candy scent, the cotton candy perfume that I loved as a kid. Though I don't particularly like scents in my makeup, I didn't mind this one because it did bring me back to my childhood. If you are sensitive to scents, you might not like this. But overall, I would repurchase this. If I find it on sale, I'll probably go ahead and pick it up. I did purchase a couple of setting sprays to replace these 2 because I looked and I was almost out of setting sprays. Like, this is my last setting spray at the moment. It's a Too Faced Do You, and it's about halfway gone. I'll probably finish it up sooner rather than later. So to replace it, this is a second repurchase. I got the Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray, and then in the mail I have a Colourpop Pretty Fresh setting spray coming. So I did go ahead and just purchase those 2 because setting sprays I feel like go a lot quicker than a lot of other makeup products, so I do like to keep a couple on hand. And then one more setting spray I finished. This is actually a sample size. This is a Tarte by the Sea one, and I finished it. I had the mini size before this, and then this I just got in a sample size. So this is my second time using it. I feel like I liked it better the first time around that I used it, but I mean it's a good one. It does smell nice. The scent is very light and very kind of tropical. Again, if you are sensitive to scents, you might not like it. However, being someone myself who is sensitive, it didn't bother me, and it actually smelled like the beach. So I can tolerate this. Do see myself eventually getting this again, probably waiting for a sale or something, but I did enjoy this, and I just felt like I got too little use out of the mini, but I mean, it was a beautiful setting spray. Moving on, I did finish my Bare Minerals Foundation Primer. As I said in my original review, and I'll go ahead and link videos down below that I do have original reviews on. I didn't have one on this because before I started doing this, I had already had this in my collection. But this foundation primer, I liked it. It felt really nice on my skin. It's very serum-y, so if you kind of got to catch it in your hands, otherwise it'll go all over the place. So just be careful when you use it. Use a little bit at a time, and like do like half your face at a time. And I did find that kind of like when I do primer, I like to put it all over my face at one time. So you're just gonna have to work with half your face at a time. But I did like it, and I would recommend it. Because upon application, it really just feels so smoothing on your skin, and it just, especially like when my skin is like being super dry, I found that I really it felt so nice on my dry skin. So I will probably get this again at some point. I think I'm going to try and get through some of my other primers first, but I do see myself buying this one again. And then my last makeup product that I got is this Olay Active Hydrating Cream. I don't know where the lid went. My 2-year-old was playing with it, so yeah, but I did finish all of this. I thought this was great. It's a very lightweight moisturizer. I mean, it's not going to do anything crazy for your skin, but I particularly liked using it over my Clinique Moisture Surge. Like, I put this on and I put this on, and it just felt like it gave my makeup a really good base to work off of. I will definitely be repurchasing this when I can find it in stores. I try to keep my online buying very minimal, simply for the fact of I don't want to overdo it, and for me that's just a personal challenge I have for myself. I don't online buy unless I like have gift cards or points or something like that. So, but as soon as I find it, I think I bought this at Safeway, so I'll have to go back and look at this, but I definitely want to get this back in my collection as soon as I can. I mean, I do have other moisturizers that'll work, but I think this is a very good, affordable option if you're just wanting something nice to add to your makeup routine. And this has actually been a primary use in my routine, so I did finish it fairly quickly. I mean, I think I bought it like fall of last year, but it's been like my go-to moisturizer, so I did use it pretty frequently. So I say if you use it every day, you could probably finish this in 4 to 6 months. So I mean, it does last because you don't need a lot at one time. But and this here is, you get 1.9 fluid ounces. So if there's a bigger one, I might go ahead and just pick this up. So yeah, that's it for the month of February. I finished a lot, especially because I went like December and January where I didn't finish anything. When I do buy makeup and I have makeup in my collection, I do use it and I do rotate through my products very frequently. I do rotate through them. Usually about once a week I'll rotate through my products, just because I have a lot that I like to use. And then I'm actually starting a new series this year, and you'll see the first one come out hopefully in April, where every 4 months I'm gonna try and do a declutter of makeup, meaning if I have makeup in my collection that just doesn't excite me, doesn't work for me, I'm not gonna keep it in my collection to rotate through it. I'm just gonna pass it along to someone I don't like, or if it's expired, I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of it. But I want to say, probably gonna do it, I don't know if I want to do it in the middle of April or at the beginning of April, but I'll probably do that. And if you guys would like to see kind of my process of how I choose to rotate things, let me know. I'll get a video on that out for sure. So yeah, with that, thank you for watching and sticking with me through this whole video. I know it was a long one because I had a lot I wanted to get through for this month. Maybe this next month it'll be a little bit smaller of a collection, but who knows. I don't really have a system for that. I just kind of go and shop and get, because I want to try a bunch of stuff and be able to recommend stuff that I like whenever I get a question, or for you guys when you guys really want something that'll work. So with that, I will see you in the next video. God bless, and bye guys.